Stop. Stop. You're scaring me.
Sorry. You only start out with 3 lives?
I thought you started with 5.
Yeah.
Here, I have an idea. Let's write a South Park episode. It can't be that hard.
Could try.
Okay,
Should we, like, take turns with,
with the story direction, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
you want to start it off, or do you want
Here, I'll start it off. It plays the theme song, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes boom, and then it's them at the bus stop. It's just Kyle and Kenny. They don't know where Stan and Cartman are. Kyle's like, God, where the fuck are they? And then Kenny's like, what happens next?
It cuts into well, no, it doesn't cut in. It's just still at the bus. It's at the bus stop, right? You said.
Yeah.
Cartman and Stan come in, and
I'm pretty sure. Wait, let me look it up because I want us to come up with these ideas correctly. Because the guys who write it have a really good rule for writing their shows that they do.
Mm-hmm.
South Park writing rule. I looked it up and the first thing says Rule 1, don't be a bitch. The but and therefore rule, that's what they do. They say like, instead of going and then something happens, they say that that's bad writing. You should have but and therefore, so like, we don't have to use those words because therefore is kind of a gay word. But we have to be like, this happens but this happens, or this happens so this happens, instead of and then this happens.
What happens next is Cartman and Stan walk in onto the bus stop, and they're kind of like, you can tell they're kind of like sweaty a little bit, and like.
Do they have the like lines next to their eyes of being freaked out?
No, but Stan is like still like putting part of his like jacket on and like fixing his hat because his hair is kind of messed up, and Cartman's like, he's like, oh hey assholes, sorry for being a little late. Or he's like, sorry we were a little late, and Kyle's like, what do you mean we? He's like, oh, did I say we? I mean I was a little late, sorry. I mean Stan, I didn't even know you were here.
Right.
Yeah. What happens next?
Kyle and Kenny look at each other, and they kind of know something's going on, and they keep asking. They're asking Cartman like, "Hey, fat boy, what are you talking about? Why'd you guys come here together? Where were you? Why don't you tell us what happened, or why you're late?" Cartman's like,
if you can't figure out something, just give it to like the next person's turn. We should have that for a rule. Just
okay,
what the story going?
What about the bus shows up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cartman's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, and he gets on the bus.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Kyle and Kenny doing stuff together because they never match up Kyle and Kenny very much.
Yeah.
So Kyle and Kenny are like, Kyle's like, we're gonna find out what they were doing, dude. To Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Shit. I lost.
He's laughing at you. You gonna take that?
Fucking dick. You pokey little flab biscuit. An asshole.
You pokey little flat biscuit.
Okay, but that's up to you. Now they're they got on the bus. Is there a scene on the bus, or do they just go to school right away?
It just cuts to them like in the classroom, and like the school bell ringing. It's like outside the school.
Okay.
It cuts in. They're in the classroom, and Mrs. Garrett. No, let's do it with Mr. Garrison. Like it's the part where they still have Mr. Garrison.
Have you not seen when they make him back into a man?
They made him back into a man?
Yeah, you must not have gotten that part yet. There's a point where like
I haven't.
There's a point where instead of being Mrs. Garrison, he's like, I miss my penis, and he grows his penis on like a rat, and they cut it off the rat and sew it to him.
Okay, then scratch it. I like it with Mrs. Garrison.
Mr. or Mrs.?
Mrs. Garrison.
Mrs.?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I like Mrs. Garrison better.
Okay, so I'm assuming this takes place after the new season, so he just runs back and he's like, hello students, I'm Mrs. Garrison again. You have to respect that. He gets really upset that like if they call him Mr. Garrison.
Yeah.
What happens?
Okay, class, today is going to be a really special day. We're going to be learning about sexual education. Hooray! I guess Carl's like, oh man, sexual education, is that like penis and stuff, am I right, guys? Penis and such?
Kenny laughs, and then Kyle looks at Kenny angry, and then Kenny remembers that they're not supposed to be they're supposed to be mad at Cartman and Stan because they won't tell him why they came late and why they were so sweaty and shit, and why they came together.
And so this whole part, Stan, I'm just gonna say, Stan hasn't been saying a word. He's been kind of quiet.
Yeah.
It's mostly been Cartman talking.
Okay, I think we should have oh shit. We should have it so at the beginning when Stan runs in, he's like, Cartman doesn't seem that freaked out. He's just sweaty, but Stan has like the freaked out eyes, like the lines on the side, and he's still not talking.
Yeah.
Kyle goes up to him. He's like, "Dude, why aren't you talking? Come on, talk to me, man." And he just shakes his head. He won't talk.
Yeah. Okay, after that, it cuts them in sexual education, and they're like, it's already like minutes or like an hour through the class or whatever, and they're like, okay, children, next topic, we're gonna be talking about sexual abuse.
Oh no!
And apparently, as soon as they say that, you can see it pans to the whole classroom's reaction. The only people you can see move are Cartman, like, turn around and look straight at, like, Stan.
And then Stan, like,
He looks...
I like where this is going.
And then you can see Kyle notice out of the corner of his eye, like, their interaction.
Mrs. Garrison turns around because he hears, or he sees... Sorry, she sees, Cartman do something.
He's like...
And she's like, "Is there something funny about sexual assault or sexual harassment, Cartman or Eric?" And then he's like, "No, Mr. Garrison." And then she gets really mad and she kicks him out of the class.
Yeah.
Stan is now freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
It shows, like, zooms in on him, and it's his voice, like, all echoey. You can tell it's in his brain. He's like, "Oh man, without Cartman here, they're gonna start questioning me. They're gonna figure me out. They're gonna know what happened." What happens next?
Mrs. Garrison, like, okay, for this project, we are going to be assigning groups of 3. So naturally, Stan,
Kyle and Kenny
get together for the project. And then once they all get together, they're like, okay, we're going to be putting on a play for an act of sexual abuse. And then this is where you're like, okay, we're going to bring in Eric Cartman for this. Because they just naturally think Eric Cartman's kind of a bad person, so, like, he could fit the role.
The role of a rapist.
Yeah. So each group would go up on stage, and there'd be 2 people would be the people that, like, stop the altercation and everything, and then the one guy is the person who is like the victim. And and Eric is just the one who abuses them all.
So wait, they made everybody get in groups of 3 only to pick Kyle, Stan, and Kenny as the people to do the play?
Well, no, everybody goes up with their group.
Oh.
Like, they'll show, like, in, like, who does it, who acts it the best, and, like, who stops the altercation the best. And then, naturally, everyone's going through the process, and, everyone's doing it fine.
Okay, what about this? Everybody's doing it in different segments of the classroom. Mrs. Garrison decides, that Kenny, Eric, Stan, and Kyle's are the best, like... Or, that Kenny, Stan, and Kyle do the best performance, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna bring Eric back in here. He's gonna join you guys. You guys are gonna do yours in front of the class.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle and Kenny, now that the teacher's gone, they're like, "Come on, Stan, what happened? Why are you so freaked out?" Then what happens?
He's still not answering him, and then once they get up there and they get to the part where they're acting it out, the teacher's telling Cartman what to do, and like, so you basically just want to act like an abuser, kind of abuse him, call him a little dirty slut, kind of, slap him across the face a little bit.
Call him a whore.
And Cartman, like, in his head, he's like, oh, I'll be great at this. I already know what I can do. And then, like, as soon as he starts doing that to Stan,
Stan starts crying.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I know. And
this is the first time he's talking in the episode, right?
Yeah, he's like, wow, he's doing really good at this. And then
Kyle and Kenny start to get a little freaked out. They're like, holy shit, he's not acting. What is he?
And then he starts, like, freaking out more. And then at one point, Cartman smacks him across the ass, and that just that just breaks him, and he starts crying and screaming. He runs out of the classroom, and everybody else just, wow, good job,
great job, Stan.
You did great. And it's only Kyle and Kenny who are like, dude, he was not acting.
Cartman's like, because of this, Cartman's like, what a pussy.
What a pussy, can't even handle it. And then like, fuck you, fat ass, and they go run out and try to get Stan.
Kenny kicks Cartman in the balls before they leave too.
He's like, oh, you fucking you homeless piece of shit.
You poor fucker.
You poor homeless asshole. They walk out to him and Stan's like in like this
the fetal position.
Yeah, he's in the fetal position on the floor. He's crying, and Stan and Kenny are like, dude, are you okay? What happened?
Come on, talk to us, man.
It's like, guys, Cartman, that wasn't an act. Cartman was being serious, and he's done that to me before.
Like, what are you talking about, dude? And then it zooms in on it cuts to Stan's face. He says, Cartman raped me. And then it cuts to commercials.
Cartman raped me. And then it cuts Burger King.
Get the Wendy's new $5 biggie bag.
Oh my god,
by the way, this is like the only serious episode. There's no jokes other than jokes about Mrs. Mrs. Garrison. But
and they're just like stunned. They like kind of don't believe him because like how could Stan let him do that?
Okay, when it cuts back, it's the hallway shot, right, of him in the hallway, and it's kind of just like, what? Stan, there's no way he raped you, Stan. Like, what about like?
No, he shows him something. He like, fine, you don't believe me here, and then he pulls down his pants and he shows like, there's like a tattoo on his ass cheek. It just says Cartman's property, and it's like him holding a flag on like mounted. On his ass. That. It's called like Planet Cartman or something. It's like, and they're like, holy fuck, dude. That fat ass took it too far this time.
I wouldn't put it past him to rape somebody.
He would. Just another fucking thing the fat ass.
This is just another fucking thing that fat ass has done. Kyle, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't want to make this a big thing.
And then out of the corner of the screen, you hear Cartman going, "What's up, guys?
What's up, fags?"
And then they turn around. It's like, hey, Cartman. They're like, oh, hey, Cartman, because they don't want him to know there's the secret. And he's like, so.
No. Oh, they don't want Cartman to know that they know?
Yeah.
I see.
And then they turn.
Running around.
They're like, what's up? Or he's like, what's up, fags? Is what he said.
Yeah, what's up, fags?
And they turn around. They're like, He's like, oh, hey, Cartman. What's up? He's like, that was such a good show I put on, right, guys?
The whole class loved me, you guys.
Everybody loved me. I really showed you, Stan, right?
I think I should be an actor.
They're like, yeah, sure, that was quite the act you put on. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go see you guys later. I gotta abuse some more kids or do whatever he was doing.
No, he'd be like, well, I'll see you guys later. He's putting on his jacket in his locker. He's like, I gotta go catch Terrence and Phillip tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
Then it cuts to like Kyle, Kenny, and Stan at Stan's house.
Yeah.
Like when they get in there, Kyle is really upset, and Randy doesn't like notice. He's just like, "Hey Stan, I'm watching this thing about Kobe Bryant," and then they look at the TV and it's like, allegedly Kobe raped a 12-year-old girl. They're like, what was the? Didn't Kobe rape a girl?
That's what they think.
Like a 19-year-old girl, like she wasn't underage, but
I don't know. I didn't know the full story.
But then Stan starts crying and running to his room. And then Randy's like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" And then Kyle's just like, "He just really misses Kobe." and then Kenny and Kyle run upstairs to Stan's room.
Yeah.
And like, "Don't worry, dude. We're gonna get that fat ass back for this."
And then eventually what happens is this long talk about how
Schlong.
He's like, no guys, we can't stop Cartman. Do you know how much he's committed and got away with? You think now just because we go around saying that he raped me, you think that's gonna change? He'll never get away with it.
He publicly stands like he publicly admitted to killing 2 people in front of the whole town. He's still not in trouble.
And then Kyle's like, well, think about it, Stan. The only reason is because he's only been talking about it. There's actually no proof that he did it. This time we can get proof.
Do a rape kit.
And Stan's like, no, I don't want to do that again. No, he's like, just think about it, Kyle. If we just hit a camera somewhere and then you kind of just got Cartman in the room with you for a bit, and
okay,
you don't have to push it too far, just enough.
Okay, then Stan's like, no guys, this is it. We're not doing this. It's not gonna work. I'm giving up. Then they're like, fine, Stan. Let's just go do something to get your mind off of it. Then like, Kyle looks over at Kenny and he winks. They take where am I?
Where have you been going this whole time? What the fuck is on your plunger?
Oh, it's a pig. Look at this.
Oh, I thought you could just like blow him up right there.
But like, Kenny winks, or Kenny and Kyle wink at each other. They know they're not actually gonna take his mind off it.
Yeah.
They bring him to the police station. Mm-hmm. They bring him to Officer Barbrady.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, Stan, take off your pants. I need to do a rape kit on you.
Does he get the doll out and he's like, where did he touch you on the doll?
And then Stan's like, guys, I really don't want to do this. He's like, it's okay, I was raped when I was a kid. And he's like, really, Officer Barbrady? He's like,
yep, and nobody believed me and they never got away with it.
Or no, they could have it Officer Barbrady would just be like, he could say he got raped by someone who's like a celebrity who definitely didn't rape him. Yep, I was raped by Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. I like that. And I like that it's usually the actors, like, or celebrities you wouldn't expect at all that just sound more believable.
Because Steve Carell would not.
Yeah, that's just...
Oh, think about this though. Officer Barbrady kind of looks like a minion. Because he doesn't have a neck. And Steve Carell voices Gru. So, that could be canon.
I guess so.
But,
back to the story, he's like... He's showing where he touched him on the doll, right?
I like that out of context. Like, okay, back to the story. He's showing him where he touched him on the doll.
Yeah, and he's like, did he do more to you than just touch you? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay.
Any oral sex or just anal?
I've got this, other male dominant doll that can,
Show me what part of this doll touched you.
Yeah, and then he has to, like, show, like, what the doll did to him. He's like...
He's making the dolls fuck.
He's, like, doing all these, like, horrible, like, things you couldn't imagine a human could do to another human. He's showing it with the dolls, and, like...
They're playing all sorts of sound effects, and he's like, he did a little bit.
It's, like... 2 hours later, they're all like horrified, still watching and going like, "Oh, don't forget this. He did this with the doll. He put it in here. He even found like a 4th hole."
I didn't even know I had this hole.
And just at the end, they're like, "Just Jesus Christ."
And then Stan's like, "Oh, and I almost forgot about this." He reaches down his pants and pulls out his sounding rod. Where is he? Oh. Oh shit. Okay, I gotta...
Whoa. And then after all that, what do you think of this? After all that, they're like, okay, we're done with everything. He's like, well, so what are you gonna do about Eric Cartman? He's like, oh, we actually don't have evidence that he did any of this, so he's off the hook right now.
You don't have any solid proof, actually? He's too young to have sperm, so the rape kit came back, negative.
And then Kyle just starts freaking. He's like, what the actual fuck?
What is wrong with this fucking hick town?
And they're like, if you don't settle down, I'm going to have to place you under arrest. He's like, no, I'm not settling down. You're horrible people. You're
You're allowing a young boy to be raped.
You're what is that word for police officers that are like crooks kinda? Like they
a crooked cop? I don't know.
No, like they would like take bribes from other people to like place some like innocent guy under arrest for money.
I don't know
what they're called.
I didn't know there was a word for that.
Really? Not like specific, it's just a word like...
A word? It's one word, it's not a term?
No. Kind of like crooked, or like God, I hate fucking forgetting simple words. But yeah, so they don't do anything, and Kyle keeps getting, yelling out, then they gotta detain him because he won't stop freaking out.
Right.
And they put him in the jail, so he's like, you can't fucking do this to me, Eric Cartman is still out there.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not the real threat, and Stan and Kenny don't know what to do, and they try and bribe with the cop to get him out or something, but the cop won't listen, and then they have to close the police station, so they eventually just leave him in the cell for the night, and then Stan and Kenny have to go home.
Okay. It goes to commercial on a shot of them of Kenny and Stan on the street, and Kenny like putting his arm around Stan, and Stan puts his gloves over his eyes and starts crying. It goes to commercial.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes back, it's outside Butter's house.
Yeah.
It goes inside, and Cartman's like, well, since Stan is not my friend anymore, I guess you have to be my friend, Butter. He's like, wow, cool. What are we gonna do today, fellas?
Yeah.
And then
he says fellas, even though it's just him there.
I know. Same thing with, like when Chef says children when it's just one kid.
Yeah.
Then Cartman's like, I have this really fun game we can play, Butters. He's like, okay. Then it just cuts to like a really dark shot, horrible scene of Butters getting like spanked by Cartman, and Butters is like tied up and gagged and crying. Then it just cuts back to this episode's getting really dark.
I don't want to make it too dark, then it's just not funny anymore, it's just sad.
Yeah, they've done that before where an episode was too dark, so just it wasn't funny anymore. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
The Indiana Jones one?
I think so.
I hated that.
Familiar.
It's the episode where they the whole joke is that
doesn't he get fucked or something?
The creators of Indiana Jones, they were saying that they ruined the series with the new movies.
Yeah.
So they had a whole thing where the creators are just raping Indy on screen. He's going, no.
How about we go in this direction instead of the Butters thing?
Oh, okay, we're removing that.
It cuts like in the middle of the night. Kyle's in his jail cell, and there's like one of those like jail windows where it's the bars, but like a little window outside. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like
wait,
that,
hold on.
Like that, we're just passing.
Yeah. Can I add on to this idea though?
Yeah.
While he's sitting there in the dark, he's kind of sad, and then he hears like weird chains jingling. And he's like, "What the hell?" And he looks over, and there's Butters in there, and he's chained up too. And
in
he's
the
like,
same cell?
In the same cell. He's like, "Butters, why are you in here?" He's like, "Well, my parents do this. I didn't eat all of my dinner, so I have to be here because I'm grounded."
Yeah.
Now there's a reason for them to have like Butters in the story, because I like Butters.
I guess. I don't know what he's gonna add to the story though.
I don't know. Hey, I gotta piss.
I like Butters. I don't know if he fits in this story. Yeah, I know where I want to go with the story.
Okay.
So just trust me here. So yeah, it cuts to Kyle in the jail cell with the window, right? And
do you not want to have Butters?
I might add him in the end. I just don't think he fits in the cell right now. But so basically, he hears loud not leaves. It's snow. I always
just
forget it's
rumbling, or
snow.
He hears footsteps on snow.
Yeah.
It's the type of snow that's like the weird squeaky snow steps you can hear.
Yeah. And then he's like, "What is that?" And he tries to reach for the window to look outside, but he can't because he's too short and the window's like higher. And eventually he just waits for what comes up to the window, and it's Eric.
Oh.
And he's like, "Oh, fat ass, what the hell are you doing here?" Or something.
Right.
And like, "What's up, Jew boy?" Like, "I don't like all this talk about you knowing about my little secret." And
I heard you trying to stop me.
Heard you trying to
Put a stop to me.
Put a stop me. I saw you walking into the police station with Kenny and Stan. I know what you're up to. And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about, fat ass.
Except when he says Kenny, he says Kenny, because that's what he calls him, Kenny.
He's like, I don't want people to know what I've done. You guys are already enough. And I was thinking, I was like, what if I could get somebody else to take the blame for all this? He's like, don't you dare, fat ass. And he's like, oh, it's too late. And he pulls out a pair of Stan's underwear. And then he's like, don't you do it, fat ass. And he starts peeing on his underwear. Or no, not he starts, that's fucker. I was gonna say.
He starts peeing on his underwear?
No, that wouldn't make sense. He gets Stan's
underwear. This is
underwear.
really similar to something they did, though.
Yeah.
The thing when he dips Butter's underpants in
those two things crossed my mind. And I was like, why would he start peeing on his underwear? He gets pictures of Stan naked and stuff, and like all the pictures he took, and he plants it like in his cell, and he can't.
I see.
He's too short.
Oh,
so
he Cartman took pictures of Stan naked?
Yeah.
That explains why he was so.
And now they're in his possession, and he can't throw them back out because he's too short. And he's like, you fat ass, what have you done? And he gets like, he throws some of his Stan's underwear in there too and stuff.
Through the bars.
Through the bars, yeah. They're like,
I see. Yeah.
You can throw stuff through there. He's like, you fat ass, I can't believe you did this. And he's like, oh.
But what's stopping Kyle from just throwing them back out of the?
Because I said he's too short. He can't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's like,
oh shit.
Now you're gonna take the blame for me, Kyle. There you go.
You're gonna take the blame, Jew boy.
I'm gonna take the blame, you freaking Jew.
You frickin' Jew.
And he's like, I swear I'll get you for this, fat ass. You crossed the line here. Like, and he's like, that's funny. I didn't cross the line when I. And then he lists like everything he's done.
Yeah.
He's like, well, this has gone too far. He's like.
Then Cartman lays down some facts on him. He says, don't you realize this whole time you, not only are you a suspect, you've helped me. All these years that I've been committing all these crimes, you've been, standing idly by and watching them happen. You've assisted in my crimes. You're just as guilty as I am.
And then, Kyle's like, well, I never thought you'd stoop this low. And then, he's like, alright, well, it's gotta go, Jew boy. And he's like, well, one last thing. I always thought you were the cutest. And then he leaves.
Then why didn't he go for Kyle?
Because Kyle is too smart.
I see.
Stan's
just gullible enough to fall for one of Cartman's tricks.
Yeah.
Where do I go from here?
Then it cuts, the next day. The police open up the cell and they find all this stuff, and they start to figure out that they think he did it. Right? And you're like, how?
Oh, fuck.
What, he just threw. What's that officer's name?
Officer Barbrady?
Yeah. How does he sound?
I think he's just like, okay, kids, get out of here. It's time for you to leave this area. This is police.
Oh, Kyle. No, that's a different voice. Like, oh, Kyle, I never thought it'd be you.
I always thought you were a good kid, Kyle. He's also like autistic.
Yeah. And at this point, Kyle's just kind of accepted his fate. Like, he knows he can't get away with it, and he's kind of like believing what Stan was saying about.
No one's gonna be able to stop Cartman.
Yeah. So then he kind of just accepts it, and then the next day, everybody else is at school except for Kyle, and Kenny and Stan are obviously worried, right? And they don't know what Cartman did.
Is Cartman in?
Yeah, Cartman's in class, and they're looking at Eric because they knew he did something.
Right.
But they don't know he did something. They know he could be. They know what he's like. Everything he's done. Right. Later, as they're walking in the hall, the school newspaper comes out, and the topic is Kyle the rapist. And it's.
Isn't Jimmy in charge of the newspaper though?
Well, yeah, but I'm sure like he'd have to get like news from like other news platforms. So if there was other news platforms that was talking about Kyle being the rapist, I'm guessing he would put that in there too.
I'm sure.
And isn't part of the school newspaper having like your students?
Yeah. Plus, I mean, the teachers don't look through the thing before they do it because PC Principal gets mad that the words retards is in there.
Just point is that it's everywhere and everybody already knows from the newspaper. And everybody around Kenny and Kyle are like, oh, I can't believe Kyle would do that. I actually like that guy.
Wendy goes up to Stan and she's like, Stan, I had no idea. Oh my god, I always hated that fucking Jew. everybody
admits to being racist.
Everybody admits like, I never liked that dirty kike.
Like, yeah, I always hated Jews.
Who's that?
That's Clyde. Yeah, I always hated Jews. I just wanted to come out and say it.
Cartman starts getting mad. He's like, "What? You guys are faking. I always hated Jews. This isn't working out how Cartman thought it would. Fuck me. This isn't working out how Cartman thought it would. He thought that he wanted everybody to hate Kyle, but now everybody's acting like they always hated Jews, even though they. Nah, never mind. Cut that.
I mean, it seems like
it's the start of a good idea, but it's not.
We're already too into it, so I think it's just. At this point, he'd like everybody not hating.
Yeah. He's like, yes, yes. He's super happy.
And this changes like a whole new plot change. It's not just about framing Kyle for the rape. He's like starting to take over the world and make like a Holocaust too.
Everybody hates Jews.
Everybody's trending against Jews, and Eric Carr was like, yes, is what I planned. And like, no, I don't want to go that route. That just seems like too much.
Fuck me. I think we gotta start wrapping up this episode.
Yeah. So basically, everybody knows, or
everybody thinks that Kyle.
Well, they think they know, because it's like
right.
If somebody goes out and like says on the news and like they're in jail, like let's say Tyler the Creator, he raped a little girl. And like it's out on the news and like he's in jail, I think everybody would just assume that he actually did it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what everybody's thinking. I don't know why I picked Tyler the Creator. It just seems like he'd pee on a little girl.
Pee on a little girl?
Yeah.
You could have just said R. Kelly.
Well, no, because he actually did do it.
R. Kelly?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
He did.
R. Kelly didn't do shit, dude.
You're right. What am I thinking? The media's made me believe.
I know.
Those lies.
But we gotta end this episode with Stan and Kenny figuring out how to prove to everyone that it was Cartman.
How would they do that though?
What about every time like Stan goes up to a teacher or another student, he's like, "It wasn't Kyle. It was oh shit. It was Cartman who raped me." Everyone just goes like, "Oh man, poor guy is so messed up that he's lying to himself. He's delusional." So that's the reasoning for Stan not like setting the record straight.
Yeah, because everyone just thinks he's delusional.
Everybody thinks he's just like, they just feel bad for him, you know?
Yeah. What if we just end this by like, it's a dark ending and Eric wins and Kyle gets the death penalty. He gets the electric chair and like Cartman's watching while like showing his ass on like the glass.
Can it just it ends like this. It's like, come on guys, it's time for Kyle's court date. We got to see what happens. And they're also, you know, they got to like be questioned about it.
Yeah.
Fire! But they got to be questioned about it. So they go there, and then it's like a montage of you can't hear what the it's like music playing. Let's say it's what's like a sad song that Matt and Trey would use in South Park.
Worn Out Faces.
What's that?
Around me, a familiar.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought of too. I think they already did that in an episode though.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a sad, like rock song that they would use.
Creep?
By Radiohead?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm a creep. It would fit because everyone thinks he's a creep and a weirdo that he did it. He's like walking away.
That's playing. Okay, that's playing with no other audio, right?
Yeah. The police are escorting him out of the.
Oh yeah, no. You. What I was gonna say is you can't see the. What are they called? The jury. You can't see. You can't hear what they say, but it's pretty clear from like reading their lips and the reaction that they find Kyle guilty. And he gets taken to jail while this music's playing, and then when it gets to the chorus, it's him in the electric chair getting like and he's like getting shocked, and it cuts back to Cartman with that like that triangle, upside down triangle smile he always has, with like him putting his ass on the on the glass.
On the glass. And then it just after everything's done, it cuts to everybody at the it's Eric, Stan, Kenny, and Butters at the bus stop. And like
Butters is the new Kyle.
Kenny and Stan are shaken up, and they're scared of Cartman. Cartman's smiling, and Butters is smiling. He doesn't really like know what's going on.
Do you ever notice that Butters has a different smile than all the other kids?
He does?
Yeah, his smile is slightly higher on his face, so he always has like a really stupid looking face. But I like that. He would have that smile.
And then he's like, there has to be like one final like sentence before it cuts to the credits. He's like, Butters says something like, damn, I don't know what he would say.
What if it was just Butters and he's like, oh, come on! Why is this fucking platform? Oh. Anyway, it's just Butters, and he looks at the camera and he says,
that's all, folks.
It does like a Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Save and continue.
That's all, folks. Just cuts the credits.
I like it better if it's the credits. Oh shit. It's the credits when it cuts to him smiling with his ass on the camera or on the glass.
Yeah,
I like that better.
I think that's better.
I don't want this.
In the next episode, does he just come back?
Yeah, he just comes back and they don't talk about it.
Yeah.